Now, I want you to speak on this story that has been trending in the last few hours about government likely to lay off reservedly public sector workers because of its negotiations with the IMF, which really have been drawn to a conclusion. And we've had Parliament Finance Committee member Mark Asibeye-Boa, who is also a member of the minority, that's your side, saying government is being untruthful with the ongoing discussions about staff rationalization and what the minister also says to be reforms in the public sector.
And what did the minister say about the reforms? When you say reforms, what is it supposed to lead to?
Now, he said that rationalization doesn't mean that
it's supposed to make you efficient.
At home. He said it doesn't mean
it's supposed to make you efficient. You know, the NDC consistently continued to lie to this country. When President Mills was in power, and then they went for the $1 billion IMF loan to strengthen the dollar at that time, they told us they were not going to lay anybody off. But in the document itself, it was clearly stated that they couldn't recruit, so for a very long time, graduates could not be recruited to the civil service. Okay? Within that same period, over 500,000 Ghanaians went back into poverty. And this happened under Professor Mills. With this same arrangement, they've talked about stuff.
500,000?
Yeah, 500,000 Ghanaians.
How did you draw that conclusion?
It's in the World Bank report that was delivered by the IMF. And I personally presented it to Parliament as an evidence in chief when we were discussing the state of the nation.
Which section of the IMF report?
I can't quote it. That's about 2 years ago, so
right,
I can't quote it immediately.
Right,
yeah,
Let's
but it's a parliamentary document. So clearly, what we need to appreciate is that the NDC is not telling us the truth. What is staff rationalization? It means that retrenchment. Some people will go home. So we are not going to sit down for the minister to continue lying to us that it won't happen. What civil servants should know is that they should start preparing for it. Because under the NDC, they will consistently not be able to manage this economy, which they've shown that they are incapable of doing. Because if you met a growth rate of 8.4% and now it's being revised down to 3.5%, after even giving us two different figures in Parliament, telling us that the Statistical Service gave us 6.9 and the Ministry of Finance gave us 4.2. Clearly, it shows you the inconsistency of the NDC government, because the Statistical Service is supposed to be a department under the Ministry of Finance. And therefore, there's no way we are going to believe this minister when he tells us that he's not going to retrench workers, because the economy is not being managed very properly. I mean, if you take the statistics in this country, between 2000 and 2008, MPP were able to mobilize 15.2 billion in tax revenue. The NDC, between 2009 to 2014, they've been able to mobilize 62 billion. Yet, look at the difficulties we are having.
Well, that said,
in the area of pay, we're able to increase salaries annually, averaging about over 100%.
It's not the same, is it?
Yeah,
but it's not the same because the variables...
They've done 54% increases in salary. So clearly, it shows that we've done better with the economy than they did, still growing the economy at 8.4%. So I believe that if they themselves are able to manage the economy well, then we might be lucky not to retrench. But if they continue to go on this tangent, which they have proposed in the IMF documentation, then naturally the retrenchment will take place.
All right. Okay. Now, still, public sector workers have still been very much unhappy.
You don't want
yes, I just want us to tie this in. You get response. We're still just talking about public sector workers, and because a strike action also was called or has been called by the Judicial Staff Association of Ghana. They're also dissatisfied. The reason why I'm raising all this is the fact that, well, the point is there's excessive demand on government. And if I have to read the current agreement we have with the IMF, and you look at the background of whatever the document says, is the fact that, well, we've not been doing too well. And for 2014, an estimated growth reduction of some 4.2%. And this was driven by a sharp contraction in the industry and services sectors. And there's also been huge demand on government to finance infrastructural and other social projects. All these could mean that, well, government will have to dig deep into its coffers to be able to finance its debt, for example, and even finance all these capital expenditures and other activities in the budget. As a result, government will have to somehow make sure it doesn't overspend and meet its current targets. Now, how do you do that?
Yes, it's all part of managing the economy. I mean, if you're a government that knows that you need to invest, say, in cocoa to have higher yields, so that your foreign exchange becomes higher, so you can invest in social activities. Decide not to invest, say, in fertilizer distribution, which has been done by previous government and has shown to work to the extent that as of the time they came to power, we were on the road to achieving $1 million million tons of cocoa production. Today, as we speak, we are going to do less than 700 in the main season. Clearly, it shows you that there's something amiss. So naturally, if you are not managing the economy well because of the way you operate, even just the cocoa industry, naturally it's going to affect your own revenue targets. Secondly, take Dumso. Light off, light on. It's a major difficulty, power generation. And that alone is affecting a lot of businesses. People are already laying off workers because they don't have the power to create the revenues and the profit that government can also take.
In your business, have you been laying off workers?
We are not laying off workers yet, but we are not hiring new ones. Now we are not, because even the amount of money we spend on generators is so expensive. So expensive. Okay? So I feel that it is very, very, very important. And naturally, if we are not spending so much on fuel, naturally our profit will go down. And government will get less to even invest in social interventions. So it's how you manage the economy. They need to take a long-term view of the way they manage the affairs of this country. So far, they've shown that they are incapable of doing so.
Okay, so if I get from all that he says where we are because of bad choices that have been made,
yes,
as far as expenditure is concerned, and we are the wrong side of it, so to speak.
I mean, he has jumbled with a lot of figures, and I'm surprised for anybody to say that, especially making specific reference to a cocoa sector by saying that because of a reduction in the production, it means that government has not managed efficiency. Somebody, if you understand agriculture sector very well, and you look at the amount of resources that has been put in the cocoa sector in this country, I'll be surprised for anybody. I'm surprised because he's from the western region and should know what government is doing in the area of cocoa to ensure that, yes, at least for now. Those days, I've worked in the agriculture sector for several years and worked with the cocoa sector. We were subsidizing cocoa fertilizers. You understand me? Today, we don't subsidize cocoa fertilizer. They are distributing cocoa fertilizers to farmers free of charge. Do you get the point I'm making? So how do you juxtapose that with a subsidization against free distribution of fertilizers, where now you can just walk in and get free seedlings, hybrid seedlings of cocoa seedlings in this country, and for whatever you want to do with it, you can do with it. So for anybody to say that government is not prioritizing the cocoa sector, you can go and look at the trend of the increase in the cocoa, the price of cocoa for the past years, and see what the government has done within the period, and compare and do the comparison yourself. So I'll be surprised for anybody to come and make a categorical statement that this government is not committed in ensuring that the cocoa sector improve.
Well, true. Well, the numbers speak for themselves. The numbers, as far as the youth and the production is concerned annually.
That's what I said. That
don't do you good justification, does it?
No, the point I'm making is that, you see, if you understand agronomy very well, you know that the season and the pattern of rainfall
has an impact?
Has a very great impact on the yield of cocoa. And one thing about cocoa is that if you watch the trend of cocoa as a tree crop, if you have abundant yield this year, the following year, the yield reduces. Because it's a tree crop. You can talk to any expert in agronomy. Or even in your own, if you can watch, if you have a mango tree in your house, and you watch this season that you have a bumper harvest this season, you watch the following season, what will happen? Watch it critically. That's the trend. And if you watch I've been telling people that cocoa is not just an ordinary tree. And you need to study the pattern of how the cocoa tree behaves before you can jump in and say that some government is not doing well or some government is doing well. Because now...
So the last 3 years have not been good. Bad rainfall.
No. It is not. It's not been consistent. It is like, as I told you, it increases and come down. Increases and come down. That's the way it has been for the past.
And ultimately, these have got impact. These have got impact on whatever revenue that we're getting from the economy and how we're spending the type of revenue. Of course, we've been able to meet some level of expenditure patterns the first quarter, for example. But at the end of the day, it means we still don't have enough or make enough to be able to meet our needs. And all because of his argument that we made bad choices.
What is the bad choice? What is the bad choice? That we want to ensure that we have increased productivity in the area of cocoa sector by making a lot of investment in the sector. As we speak right now, all over this country, we have subsidized about 180,000 metric tons of fertilizers to give it to all the farmers across this country. Is that not? Is that a wrong choice? Is it a wrong choice to ensure that we invest in the area of energy? So because these problems are not happen within a day. There are problems that have been there, and you can take it. If you like, go to 2007, their own president, former president, Kufuor's State of the Nation address, as he's talking about. Go and read all the measures they want to put in place to ensure that we solve the energy problem. Which of them were they able to put in place? So for anybody to come, that's why I always say that if government says that these are the strategies, that's why I always say the MPP have changed. For me, as a young man, when I was in Legon in those days when Dr. Apraku and co were in the opposition, it's not the way they behave. Now they only come to criticize and they don't give any alternatives. I presume that this morning, as they are coming, government says these are the measures I'm putting in place to reduce or to manage our debt. These are the measures I'm putting in place to show that we improve the economy. I presume that they should come up with alternatives. Anytime I thought they come, they take a look at
your point has been made, sir. All right. Now, at the end of the day, we know that, for example, the Judicial Staff Association of Ghana are making demands. We're going to have nurses who want to be paid their allowances fully and not in tranches. We're going to have other statutory payments that need to be made. At the end of the day, we don't have enough in the coffers, and we have to be realistic about what the demands should be and what also we need to be paying realistically for goods and services that are rendered to us. All in a bit to make sure we save the country a lot of money.
I think that the demand by the Judicial Service Workers Association is justified because government accept that it is their money. I believe that is the level of negotiations they're able to do with them that matters. Because when you are paying, if you are currently paying somebody, say 1 cedi to sweep, say, 1 kilometer of road, if the person knows that after adjusting it for social costs, you add, say, 10 cedis to it, naturally he's supposed to do maybe additional 10 kilometers. The person will appreciate that what you are paying him is for productivity. And it should all be part of the negotiations that they do with workers. But if government doesn't do that part of it, that will enable them improve on productivity. And they stay there. And then always allow the cost of living to catch up with how much they are paying them. Then naturally the government will not be getting anything from the amount of money they are paying. Then you might say that they are just paying for nothing. But if you are paying for something extra in terms of productivity, any amount of money that you pay to the worker is not waste. And that's how I believe the government needs to be looking at it.
Okay, so we're just getting some news on the line. Albert, sorry, you're back on the line. What's the latest news you can give us? Okay, we'll try. We'll try and get, I think we're not getting some good news from the Upper East region. And already, let me just run this by you, that for the last 3 hours, this is what the news has been, that the Upper East Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Adams Mahama, is fighting for his life in the hospital following an acid attack on him. And 2 assailants stopped his car whilst he was about entering his house midnight on Wednesday and poured the corrosive substance on his face and entire body. And we got that confirmation also from Zakaria Osman, who is Mr. Adams' aide. And he said his boss is in a critical condition, and we're getting that the news is not too good. We'll try and get a lot more confirmation on you and to make the news more authentic so that we just don't put anything out there. Already, the Upper East Regional Police Command has been on the subject. It's PRO ASP Thomas Agbanyo also confirmed the incident to Joy News and said one of the assailants so far has been arrested. And so, please, we're just trying to make sure we get the... Now
yeah, I'm not finished.
Oh, you have not finished?
Yes.
We have to wrap up. We have 2 more minutes. So
really?
To take 30 seconds. He takes 30
We'll finish with the program?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He was making mention of the characteristics of cocoa. I'm a biochemist. My father owns a cocoa farm. Oh, your father does? Yes, he does. Owns a cocoa farm in Asenkegwa. So it means you're a cocoa farmer yourself? Yeah, I go there. I help my father do it. And I want to make it clear that whilst you're expecting one farm to have bad yield for 1 year and the next year good yield, the other farms will also be having it intermittently. So we have a normal distribution. If his arguments hold, then how come that under the MPP, cocoa production continued to grow all along the 8 years that were in power? What I'm saying is that in 2014, for instance, the amount of money that was given to government in terms of budget to procure fertilizers for farmers were never done. Okay. So naturally, if you are having bad yields this year, it's because of the bad choices that you made. All right. Mr. Bright, I can't give you your time. I'm sorry, my time is up.
But what he's saying is not true.
Okay.
What he's saying that fertilizers were not deployed in 2014 it's never true.
It's true.
You can check from the board.
Kojo Damoji is a member of parliament for Pontiano. English Amamfro. He's a member of the NDC as well. He's an agronomist, and he's been here with Kwabna Otre Documents, a member of parliament for Takrady. He's going unopposed for his seat. He's a member of the MPP as well. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining us for the show. Please join us same time tomorrow, and we'll give you a lot more updates.